Growing up, I had all these stereotypes about Americans, but thanks to my YouTube channel, I've got to speak to so many of you guys and you're all so nice. I think most Americans are totally just very, very sane and rational people. Kyle Rittenhouse making the media rounds, a new celebrity famous for doing nothing more than gunning down two people. I'm sure most Americans don't think this guy is a hero. Let me just read the YouTube comments. What a great young man. I have much respect for the way he handles himself and speaks so intelligently. I totally enjoyed this show, the conversation with the truthful information along with the compassion shown to him, and the humour of all of you displayed was a nice combination. Keep up the great work and many blessings are wished for all of you. Merry Christmas. This boy is making some good money of all these interviews. He deserves it. They made a man out of a boy and he conducts himself so well. I feel we will see more of this young man in the public eye in the future. Good for him. An innocent man should always take the stand. Hey Kyle, so proud of you. Please don't stop college. It's brutal at times, especially online. When you got acquitted, my phone lit up with texts from a bunch of friends celebrating. We ended up having a party that night for you, and the fact standing up for ourselves is still okay. Keep your head up. Life can be a roller coaster. I think I'm gonna have to cancel Kyle Rittenhouse. Oliver Stone made a film called Natural Born Killers starring Woody Harrelson, whose father actually was a hitman, and Juliette Lewis. And the whole film's point was how America and the American media are utterly obsessed with killers. They will make them out to be heroes, or they'll just be genuinely obsessed with every gruesome detail of what they've done. Now, that film came out in the 1990s, and it's a very, very good film. And it's so sad, the commentary on it has only got more relevant, and we can talk about like the true crime genre. But today we are talking about the cult around Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, regardless of if you think this guy was innocent, in the US legal system, a legal system that was created to uphold racism, then that is one thing. Even if you agree that it was self-defense or something like that, that is one thing. It's a total different thing to call this guy a hero and to say this guy is someone we should all look up to and respect. And I think what it shows is two things. Fundamentally, Americans are obsessed with violence and they constantly whitewash violence or portray it as something that is good. America is both a very violent country and has a history that is extremely brutal, but has been consistently whitewashed. Even the Germans in the 1930s looked up to the Americans because they're like, your history is so violent and brutal, but you act like it's no big deal, especially your treatment of the natives, which they wanted to replicate with their treatment of Eastern Europeans. So today we're going to talk about this really, really disgusting cult that has formed around Kyle Rittenhouse, and just how it just exposes the truth that nearly all American conservatives not only don't mind the thought of left-wing people being killed by right-wing vigilantes, they actually are itching to do it themselves and see it as something positive. But first I want to share a little message about the Activision-Blizzard scandal and how you can help their efforts to strike and unionize. So I wanted to use the slot where I normally promote my own social medias to promote a cause we've been speaking about on the channel for a while. So on Monday's video, we talked about the working conditions at Activision-Blizzard. Now, workers at Activision-Blizzard have now gone on strike and they need our support. So an anonymous Activision-Blizzard QA worker has reached out to me asking if I can share this stuff on my video, and I'm very happy to do that. So the Strike Fund's official message can be found on this link I've put in the pinned comment and the description, and the Strike Fund itself can be found in another link I am putting up. Please consider donating to a good cause. One of the top people at Activision-Blizzard has recently sent around an email trying to dissuade people from unionizing and from striking. This guy actually was a top guy in Trump's CIA. I made a whole video about how Activision is actually run by people who worked for Republican governments. But this is a movement unlike anything we've seen in the gaming industry. So if you love video games and respect everyone involved, please consider supporting this movement to really help make real change, and hopefully if this strike is successful and the union movement is successful, we will see other movements pop up in Ubisoft or in Naughty Dog or in Bungie or Rockstar or any of these companies that have had an awful history of abusing their workers. So please consider donating to the strike fund. Also, thanks so much for the support recently. We have hit 55k. You know what that means. Probably the last chocolate orange of the year. Like I said in the last video, I am moving to Spain in January for like 4 months or something. Cannot bring these with me. I don't think we're going to hit 60k this year. So enjoy this. Enjoy the last one. It's like a little Eiffel Tower. Is there a better way to structure this? Leave it in the comments if you think there's a better way to arrange this stuff. Because it was pretty perfect before we put the new one on. Actually, let's maybe switch these two around. So now let's get into the video. I first want to talk about how Kyle has essentially become like a new right-wing celebrity. Now, like I said before, I don't really care what you think of the trial. I don't think what he did should come with no charges, whether it's a 17-year-old running around with a gun across state lines. And I've seen some liberals like say this guy seems alright. He is a police simp who went to a Black Lives Matter protest after they shot Jacob Blake in the back to protect private property and then ended up killing 2 people while he was palling around with right-wing militias and boogaloo boys. Like, Kyle Rittenhouse is a bad dude, and I probably blame that on the failings of his parents. His mum seems like a total piece of work. And in my mind, the whole event is a tragedy. 2 people were killed. Like I said in the start, even if you agree with American self-defense laws or whatever, it's still a tragedy. If you were this guy and you firmly believe he was defending himself, would you be looking for the limelight? Would you be looking for the spotlight? Wouldn't any real normal functioning person be quite traumatized by what they did and not go around on right-wing, far-right radio, media, everything like that, make jokes about it and basically brag about it? And it's laughable this guy says he's a Black Lives Matter supporter. So he was on the Charlie Kirk show first with well-known fash Jack Posobiec and Charlie Kirk. And in this one, he mainly talks about like the trial and his lawyer and stuff. This one's a bit more serious in tone than some of the other ones, but it's still quite like a cordial clip. And it's clear these guys love Kyle because he legitimizes a lot of what they want to do, is essentially shoot left-wing people.
Thank you to the millions of people around the country, not just the US, who have donated and supported us throughout this entire battle. It truly means a lot to me and my family.
The world. I mean, there was people who were donating from all countries across the world who saw.
I got so many postcards and letters from like Germany, Poland, from everywhere.
You mentioned this briefly in your conversation with Tucker. I believe the Lord has his hand on you. Talk about that.
I believe God has been with me from the beginning. I pray every night. I believe he's helped guide me in the right direction. He's helped bring people into my world, such as Dave, LT, Mark, Corey, Joellen, John's husband, who's just helped me throughout this. And he hasn't gave me the answers, but he's helped point me in the right direction.
Now, the super disturbing ones, which I'm going to play for you now, are the ones with Steven Crowder and another podcast called You Are Here. So I want to first play you some clips from the Steven Crowder interview. So first, here is Kyle Rittenhouse joking about what he did while talking about Call of Duty with Steven Crowder.
No, look, I want you to be as... Look, you want a puff of this cigar? Take a puff of this cigar.
Oh.
I know. Look, I saw you smoking cigarettes, and I know that this kid wants a cigar.
I feel like you've been on trial for worse things. Why don't you
want a puff of the cigar?
Well, better things.
Okay, I will not say that that this kid uses nicotine in any form or fashion.
Well, I have a real question. How much Call of Duty experience did you have?
Yes.
I think that's what's on all of Americans'
And how did you
minds.
unlock the AR-15, which isn't available in the game?
But I was Prestige 27 in Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
Before this all happened.
Wow.
Well,
Now I'm only like Prestige 6.
I don't know what that means.
I don't have a clue.
Did you rescue the princess?
I didn't rescue the princess.
Okay. Well, then,
Yes, at the very
If I rescued the princess, she'd be right here with me.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Well, we have Dave.
That's good enough.
Can I get a tiara?
Yes.
And only a tiara.
Just the tone of this podcast is just so bizarre. This guy is only famous for killing people. Literally, that is all he's famous for. He wasn't a celebrity before. He's famous because right-wing people love violence and they want to kill leftists, so this is their new hero. So here is him talking with Crowder even more, talking about like what women he likes and stuff like that.
This is a kid who was thrust into a situation that really through no fault of his own, and a lot of conservatives or people on the right tried to do the both sides, and we didn't. A lot of prayers said for this kid in the studio, and I think you all know how emotional it was for us when he was vindicated. And now he's on social media. So you're open to dating.
I am very open.
So maybe that's
dating.
what you want for Christmas.
That's what I want for
A
Christmas.
nice
yes.
dame. What are you looking for in a woman?
Yes. Yes.
Tracts of land.
Tracts of land.
Yeah. No. What are you looking for in a woman?
Some person that just wants to like date me for who I am. And what I'm looking for in a woman is I like a girl with a little bit of butt.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Slim waist, big tits, big boobs.
Now,
So if you go and watch any of these videos, this guy is like so arrogant about like his case and what he did, even though he was a blubbering little baby during the trial. To me, it doesn't really seem like a guy who's too remorseful, despite what he said when he was on trial. So the You Are Here podcast is way more friendly in nature, and it's really like some sick shit. Basically, throughout the podcast, they keep reading him comments from the audience, who all, of course, adore this guy.
Rachel Schuster says, "Kyle, you legend. Make sure Elijah gives you a few Kiwi dollars. I'm so happy for you, man.
Kiwi dollars.
Kiwi dollary Jews.
What are Kiwi dollars?
They're from New Zealand. They're worthless.
It's fake money.
Kiwis.
You can't buy freedom, so they're not worth that much.
That's fair.
I want Kiwi dollars.
No offense, Rachel, you're very sweet. Cool. Not Fed says, Elijah, were there any concerns of Kyle's chair breaking due to the weight of his massive nuggets? Of course he means Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Okay, so while we're on that topic,
Oh.
so chicken nuggets, the first meal I had when I got out, I had 50 chicken nuggets.
No.
Like a
I only
champ.
ate like 38
From
of
where?
them.
Chick-fil-A?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
Like,
you gotta go. You get 20 for $4. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't eat them any other way. So I want to ask, what is your favorite sauce?
Bankrupt and they're telling you to buy Krigler coffee. Yes, Krigler coffee indeed. Marvin says, seeing Richie on Tim's show, I donated to your defense fund and shared your defense team's video. That was very effective to those who saw it. Kyle says, hey Kyle, when did you finally realize that you are now a legend?
So describe. I don't really. Thank you guys for the support, but what does it mean to be a legend?
Well,
Watching a violent far-right vigilante become a celebrity in real time on social media solely for killing 2 people at a Black Lives Matter protest is really the most disturbing thing I've seen. Him just having friendly chats with this guy, them all like idolizing him, talking about him being like a hero of theirs and someone they really admire and everything like this. It just blows my mind. And I come from a different country, but I'm just trying to even imagine like something similar happening in the UK. And this guy then going on the podcast circuit basically talking about what he did and laughing and joking around the issues of his trial. Like I said before, regardless of what you think, the right-wing obsession with this guy is deeply sick and proves to me, and I've been saying this for a long time, if I was killed by someone like him for my political views, if I was at a protest, most people in conservative media, in conservative circles, would be happy. They would say, I deserved it. They would go on my social media and see my views on like the cops and stuff and my anti-capitalism and they'd be like, this guy deserved it. 100%, most of you watching this video, if you have left-wing politics, if you were one of the guys shot by Kyle Rittenhouse, most people would be celebrating your death. These guys have been chomping at the bit for a while for someone to kill left-wing people. So let's read some of the comments across these various podcasts to show you what I mean. I'm thankful for this young man. He survived the modern day witch hunt. Criminals cause good people to do bad things in order to protect themselves. Kyle is a prime example. I'm 21. I wish I could be more like him. He's so patient and cool-headed while the world is trying to tear him apart. I would be losing my mind and probably not as calm if I was in his scenario. Huge props, Kyle. If you're reading this, we are here for you. If you don't love Kyle after this, you're crazy. This kid is so level-headed and good-souled. I wish nothing but happiness in his future. Prayed every day for this kid. Kyle, you're such a brave, strong person. From a 21-year-old Canadian, you set such an amazing standard of strength and perseverance. You've renewed my faith in our generation. Stay strong. Wishing you a happy, successful future. Don't let people try to deter you from attending campus. Hold your head up and pursue whatever it is you wish and block them all out. Kyle is an American dream. His heart and humility is what our young Americans should and could possess. Kyle is in reality a sweet and humble soul. The more I learn about him, the more I just adore him as a person. His mother did a fine job raising this young man. God bless them. I do believe God was watching over Kyle that night in Kenosha. I know there was an abundance of prayer for his fate during the trial. I have a feeling Kyle has a purpose yet to be discovered. Kyle is a hero and they tried to use him politically. Don't forget, we are still in that fight. I followed your case and I appreciate the USA because of the Second Amendment and the conservative traditional values, which are a pain in the ass for the wokish culture of today. In Europe, these values seem to shift without anything to defend them. Keep fighting the truth. Greetings from the Netherlands. I still well up with tears for Kyle. He is handling everything like a champ. I believe the jury made the right decision. Anyone with working eyeballs and a functioning brain should agree. This guy has such a tender heart, so it seems he is going to carry the weight of taking the life of two men, even though he was beyond justified to do so. But his whole heart going there was to help. That is some utterly deranged stuff, and the way Americans talk about this stuff, like it's just a very positive thing. The words they are using to talk about a night of such violence is just really, really disturbing to me. And the way they're all praising him, saying he seems like a nice guy and he was totally justified, it just really melts my brain. And it just depresses me, honestly, that so many people can follow this case at all. And like I said, regardless of what you think within the confines of the US law, think this is a positive thing to do. Show up to a Black Lives Matter protest like the Boogaloo Boys with a gun, and basically if something kicks off now, according to the law, you can just start shooting people. No wonder so many conservatives unironically love Judge Dredd and The Punisher. But this isn't just weirdos on social media and the far-right people like Steven Crowder. It's also the highest echelons of US right-wing politics. So here is how the political sphere reacted. Republican Matt Gaetz offered Rittenhouse an internship. He deserves a not guilty verdict, and I sure hope he gets it because you know what? Kyle Rittenhouse would probably make a pretty good congressional intern. We may reach out to him and see if he'd be interested in helping the country in additional ways. It's not just Gaetz trolling the libs. Republicans with a real shot at winning Senate seats next year have been trumpeting Rittenhouse's actions in recent days. Arizona Republican Senate candidate Blake Masters, who recently met with Donald Trump, called Rittenhouse the good guy and pledged to donate and raise as much as necessary to support his appeals. While so many of our leaders were just cowering to the Black Lives Matter mob, Kyle was just trying to help. He showed up at a riot and he was trying to help protect local businesses. He was trying to help give medical aid. Anyone who won't stand up and defend Kyle right now is someone that won't stand up and defend you. He did the right thing, Greg Gutfeld said. He did what the government should have done, which was to make sure these dirtbags, these violent, disgusting dirtbags, weren't roaming the streets. Senior officials at the Claremont Institute, a right-wing think tank with close ties to Trump, have also celebrated Rittenhouse's actions. He was answering the call to defend persons and their property against left-wing street militias when civil authorities declined to do their duty, said Claremont Institute President Ryan Williams. He's a consummate citizen of America defending the social compact in a de facto state of nature. We need to make the Rittenhouse as hero movie. He shouldn't have been there. Brother, we all should have been there. Now, of course, I don't need to tell you that the far right absolutely loved this stuff, especially that he got off with it as well. So within minutes of the jury's announcement, the verdict was already being rallied around as a justification for racial violence, writes Alex Newhouse, the Deputy Director of Extremism Research Center at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies. Rittenhouse has been sanctified. So an ADL document had a wealth of examples of these people celebrating. A user on the chat room, Warriors for America, wrote that it was open season on lib trash commies. A Twitter user affiliated with the Boogaloo said we can protect our communities now, referencing Rittenhouse. The one funny caveat to this is that these guys were also freaking out when somehow they believed that Kyle Rittenhouse supports Black Lives Matter just because he said it to Tucker Carlson. So some of his supporters felt betrayed and angry. Idiot, we should not support him anymore. So does that mean he supports the rioting that BLM does? If true, I'll take a pass on any donations. Bad take, Kyle. You shouldn't support them. Disappointed to say the least. I don't understand how such a nice kid can support this organisation. On the other hand, he's only 18, he'll learn. Members of the Proud Boys Telegram wrote, I hope Rittenhouse doesn't turn to BLM. I spent a lot of money on his innocence and support. But it is really not surprising. Mainstream American politics is far right now. Kyle Rittenhouse loved the cops. He was a police cadet. He went with a gun to protect private property as a counter-protest to a Black Lives Matter protest that was against the police for shooting another innocent black man. He then kills 2 people at the protest. And while he was sobbing at the trial, we all know this guy has these hard right leanings. So you guys will remember this when he posed with the Proud Boys. According to the prosecutor's motion before entering the bar, Rittenhouse posed outside with 2 men as they all put their thumbs and forefingers together in what looked like an upside down OK sign. The motion also states that Rittenhouse was serenaded by 5 men singing Proud of Your Boy, which prosecutors say was written for a Disney film but has become the anthem of the Proud Boys. And now you even see Proud Boys walking around with badges of Kyle Rittenhouse when he was doing the shooting. So this cult of Kyle Rittenhouse is just like absolutely crazy. And do you know what it seems like to me? The cult around mass shooters, which has been a fringe thing, has really entered the mainstream in American, like, I guess, civil discourse, where a whole political side now supports vigilante killing of left-wing people. American conservatism, I've said this so many times, is a far-right ideology. It's an inherently anti-democratic, violent, racist ideology that basically like 70 million Americans at least believe in. Most police believe in this stuff. Most police like Kyle Rittenhouse. Most police vote for Republicans. While the cult of Kyle Rittenhouse is deeply depressing, it's also not surprising at all. How many times do we have to see police kill so many people for no good reason, only to be celebrated or let off in the courts? Kyle Rittenhouse not being found guilty of anything in this massive trial should really come as no surprise, and I wasn't surprised in the slightest. It's an ideology that values private property above human life, where it's totally justifiable to pick up a gun, run to another state, and say you're defending private property and kill 2 people. It's just utterly insane. And any left-wing person on the internet, especially, semi-prominent ones, I guess in left-wing YouTube, I'm semi-prominent, you get death threats all the time. You get people on the far right saying how they're going to kill you, push you out of helicopters, all this stuff associated with historic, far right stuff, Pinochet, all that stuff. But this is no longer someone fringe on the internet. Most people watching this video, if you have similar politics to me, if Kyle Rittenhouse or anyone like him killed you, there would be a massive movement to acquit that person, no matter what the circumstances, because they agree with killing their political opponents. They are inherently fascist, these Republicans. America is a country that inspired so much of the fascism of the 20th century, a country that is just so deeply embedded with this stuff, has never had to reconcile with its awful history, and this is the inevitable result of this stuff. It was bubbling under the surface, but now these people do not care. Now, before I end the video, I want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse specifically. So this guy is 18, and if he's not having trauma from this stuff, which he appears not to based on his appearances, this is what I believe is happening with him right now. So he's got off something. He was looking at years in prison if he was found guilty. So he's probably buzzing right now. He's probably on a massive dopamine high from being acquitted. And now he's also meeting really famous people. He's meeting Steven Crowder. He's meeting President Trump. He is getting all this media attention that someone like him was never going to get. Like, there was no chance this guy was ever going to become this famous on his own. So he is probably absolutely loving the attention. Probably loving all the messages he's getting from women. Probably loving all the messages like fawning over him from rich people. Rich people saying they'll give him jobs, they'll fund his court cases, all that stuff. But I'm going to predict to you what is going to happen now. So remember George Zimmerman? George Zimmerman obviously got acquitted as well for a way more like clear-cut crime. He should have been in prison for the rest of his life, but he started to become irrelevant. So what did he do? He started acting out. He started committing more crimes to get in the spotlight again. So what I think is going to happen with Kyle Rittenhouse is he's going to enjoy his moment in the sun, probably for like the next 2 or 3 years, do more media appearances, maybe start like his own media thing. Who knows? But I think eventually, as he gets older and matures, he's going to be haunted by what he did. He's going to realise the gravity of what it's like to take 2 lives. And I predict in the next 5 years, Kyle Rittenhouse will be in trouble with the law again. I don't know what format will take, whether it would just be like, you know, drunk driving or something like that. But I guarantee this guy has become famous for something awful, and he's gonna fade from the spotlight. He's gonna have his 15 minutes and there won't be anything to make him feel better. So he's gonna act out again. This unremarkable, arrogant kid is only famous for shooting 2 people. He's not famous for anything else. He doesn't deserve to be someone you look up to. He's not a hero. And I think the reality will dawn on him at some point. The only reason anyone cares about you is because you're a killer. And the only reason these guys are even nice to you is because you've lived out their fantasy. So I have no doubt eventually he will start acting out when he realizes the gravity of what he's done. I'm sure he will keep lying to himself for the rest of his life. He'll live in this echo chamber that will tell him the people he killed deserved it and he was just doing the right thing and he stood up for all America. But I predict, and if you're watching this video in like 5 years time, he's going to be in trouble with the law when he becomes increasingly irrelevant. And the right wing will probably dispose of him then. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you want to follow me on social media, at the Kavernacle on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to support my work, check out my Patreon. And please, 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 go check out the Activision Strike Fund. If you're sick of hearing about crunch, abuse, all these nerds on a power trip treating women specifically like absolute garbage, then please support this strike fund. That is it from me. If you made it this far, thank you for watching.